Hello everyone! Today I'm here to share with you a video that I simultaneously love and hate, and that is every single book on my TBR shelf, because it's good because it gets me like motivated to read them, and it's bad because sometimes I don't. Like, I'm ashamed of myself. So I like to do this video every single year to like really remind me to, hey, read some books off your shelf, because I'm really a person that loves to read new releases. That's just how I am. That's not because that's the trend or anything like that. That's just, I don't know why. I've done that for so long and I enjoy it, but I'm also a person that's like, you need to read some books on your shelf because there's some amazing books that maybe came out a year or two beforehand that you just didn't read because you're so focused on the releases, and I don't like that about myself. So yeah, I try to categorize this into like different genres and if I read them or not, but honestly it's just a hodgepodge. We're gonna go through this together, and I will tell you my honest feedback of whether or not I think I'll read them this year. I don't know if there's people out there that like will go back and look at my old videos and like be like, you didn't read that one, and you're right. Let's move on. I pulled out YA first because that was the closest to me. I have a whole shelf, like it's all the way up here of all the TBR books I have, but there's also more. We'll get to that when we get to that. Let's move on to the YA books. First up is one I definitely plan to read, and that is The Universe of Wishes. This is a YA anthology all about, you guessed it, like YA fantasy books. Definitely plan to read that this year. One that, like, you ever have those like 70-30, you know, 70% chance I'll read this, 30% chance maybe I'll not. The Good Girl is by Claire Eliza Bartlett. This is like a YA murder mystery. I want to get to it. Time will tell. One I definitely know I'll be reading is By the Book by Amanda Sellett. This is a YA contemporary. YA contemporaries don't stay on my shelf for long. Let's just say that. You'll see which ones do. Speaking of YA contemporary, another one, I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. These two I just recently bought. They're both YA contemporaries. I have full faith I'll read them this year. When they'll be read is a great question. Here's one that I don't think I'm going to read this year. I'm going to hang on to it for a while. You know, I bought it, so I will hang on to it for a good while. But I'm not prioritizing it, and that is Crush by Tracy Wolff. Crave is the first book. Like, this is insanity. Like, how many pages is this? It's like almost 700 pages. I don't think it needs to be it. I haven't even read it. I'm going to be amazed if it gets read this year. I'll just say that. Here's one that's been on my shelf for probably a couple years now. Maybe a year or two. Maybe a year and a half. A Deck of Omens by Christina Lynn Herman. It's the sequel to Devouring Grey. I read The Devouring Grey like 3 years ago. Enjoyed it. You ask why I haven't read this? There's no reason. The Life and Medieval Times of Kit Sweetly by Jamie Paxton. This is a YA contemporary. I said they don't stay on my shelf long, but here I am totally proving myself wrong. I need to read this. Here's one. Oh, this is gonna break my heart, and probably yours. My Calamity Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Aston, Jody Meta. So this is their third book in their Jane series. I read the first two, loved them. I tried reading this, could not get into it. I don't think I'm in love with like a Western style book. I don't know, because it takes place like in the Wild Wild West in 1876. So I think I will read this. I'm not rushing towards it. There's that one. Here's one I definitely want to read this year. Legend Board by Tracy Dion. This one came out at the end of last year, and it just sounds amazing. I really need to read more YA fantasy, and I say every year, especially the past couple years, I haven't read a lot, and some of the ones I read I really enjoy, and I've heard nothing but good things about this one, so I need to read it. Likewise with, sorry, I'm getting myself together. Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. This one also is a YA fantasy that just sounds amazing. I need to just have like a week or two where I just binge all the YA fantasies. Also, Curses and Kisses by Santa Menon. Is this a fantasy? I don't think it is. I think this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, like in boarding school. I've read all of her books. There's no reason why I haven't read this. This whole video is just going to be internally beating myself up. Oh, here's two sci-fi. I don't really ever reach for sci-fi, but I have Skyward and Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I read one adult book by Brandon Sanderson. Loved it. A lot of people have talked about this series. I will get to it. I have an ARC. This one comes out in February, so next month. Amelia Unbridged by Ashley Schumacher. I don't know much about this one. I think it's a very hard-hitting one. Then I have 3 YA contemporaries that I know I will get to this year. I bought them all, and I will definitely read them. You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno. Have I read all of her books? I think so. I'm really anticipating this one. Dating Makes Perfect by Pintip Dunn. This is like a rom-com YA book. Really looking forward to it. And Far From Normal by Becky Wallace. Oh, this is actually, I did not buy this. This is an ARC. It came out in May of last year. I'm failing. I'm really usually good with ARCs, but not today. Adult books. This one, I don't know. This is Enjoy the View by Sarah Morgan-Thaler. Actually, speaking of that, I have down here, because I do break my own rules sometimes, Mistletoe Mr. Right by Sarah Morgan-Thaler. So these are 2 Christmassy books, and I haven't read the second one, and it's in my like Christmas section. That's right, like I got a section on my bookshelf for holiday reads. I know, which is probably where I'll put this one at. I haven't read either of these. I didn't love the Tourist Attraction, so I don't know. I don't ever want to push myself to read something, you know, it's not the best. Happy Singles Day by Anna Marie Walker. Did I say we're moving into adult? We're in adult books now, by the way. This is like a cute Hallmarky type of book. I'll read it when I need to pick me up. Accidentally Engaged by Farrah Hanna. This one comes out in March. Definitely planning to read it. It's already on March TBR, so I ain't worried about that one. And this one, Fangs. I bought this recently. It's a graphic novel about a vampire falling in love with a werewolf. You bet your bottom dollar I bought this to save for the fall, so it's going to be on here a while. But it will get read this year. I got a lot of Book of the Month books because I do. Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane is a adult murder mystery thriller. I don't know why I'm saying that. As well as The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I think I will for sure read The Wife Upstairs. Pretty Little Wife, I don't know. Well, let's see. Time will tell as I continually say. The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany by Lori Nielsen Spielman. I might save this for like summertime because it's Tuscany. Why not? And one that's been on my shelf. I don't even know. When did this? June 2019. Recursion by Blake Crouch. I have still yet to read this. One day. And then I have My Dark Vanessa by Kay Elizabeth Russell. This is a very hard-hitting, very serious. It's going to suck a lot of probably happiness out of me when I read it, so I need to be ready. And then I have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Then I have a whole stack of like adult paperback books. This one's been on my shelf for a while. New Orleans Rush. I want to say at least a couple of years. You'll notice the thing about me is I will save, like I said, YA contemporaries don't stay on my shelf for long, but they do because I save some because I'm like, I don't ever want to run out of them. I always want to have one. And there's no rhyme or reason for that, especially with how much I e-read now with NetGalley ARCs and everything. Like, I don't need to do that. I need to break myself of that. So I need to read this year. The Chicken Sisters by K.J. Del Antonio. I haven't heard a lot about it. This one is a big if for me. Like, maybe. I don't know. Night Road by Kristen Hanna. If I want to sob, I will turn to this. I love Kristen Hanna, but her books suck the happiness right out of me. The Flip Side by James Bailey. This is another like YA cutesy book. No, it's not a YA cutesy book. It's an adult cutesy book. I haven't heard much about it, so it's another like 50-50 if I'll read it or not. Ooh, one I'll definitely read. I should probably read it soon. I didn't even think about it. Midnight Winter by Agatha Christie. This has a whole bunch of short story, like murder mystery stories from the Queen herself. Then, speaking of Agatha Christie, I have Death on the Nile. I'd want to read this before the movie comes out. When it comes out, I don't know. Ooh, The Passengers by John Mars. I read the one by him last year. Loved it. I for sure will read this one this year. Girls by Simone St. James, an adult mystery thriller that I definitely plan to read. The Swap by Robin Harding is one I bought last year, but I haven't heard amazing things about it, so up in the air. And then I have If I Never Met You by Mari McFarlane, which is an adult romance, but also kind of very in-depth and serious, so I have to be in the right mood for that. So yeah, those that I just showed you are on my main shelf. Now, here's a little secret. I have more shelves. I had my husband built me more shelves because I was like, my TBR is getting out of hand. Here's the deal with me, is I don't have a problem unhauling. I'm good with it. Like, I don't put videos of unhauling and things like that a lot. I just don't, because I do really go through my books a lot. And with that, like, I'll try to, if I get duplicates, or if I read a book and I didn't love it, or if I don't think I'm gonna love a book and I just don't plan to read it, I will offer them to my friends if I think they'll want them. Either do that, I'll give them to some family members that might like them, especially like middle grade books, because I have a lot of middle grade nieces and nephews. And if that doesn't happen, I do donate them to a local thrift store that has all their money go to a children's hospital in my area, and it's legit. I've looked into it. Like, I have a lot of experience with that hospital, so I do that. So unhauling is not something that's scary to me. I do it quite frequently, but there's a few books like that I have on these little shelves over here that are like, you can't even see, that I just like, I'm almost ready to get rid of them, but I'm still not quite sure. I think I might read them, but I just don't know. They're not on my main TBR shelf, which actually, looking at these now after this video, I'm probably gonna rearrange everything, but I'm gonna grab them for you. There's a lot. Like, I'm ashamed of how many books I have on my TBR shelf. First up, I have a stack of like mass market paperbacks of historical romances I've gotten sent, and one of my goals this year is to read historical romance. I've read a whopping 2 and I enjoyed them, and I want to read more. So like, I have these, and I put these here because the size of them just doesn't fit with my TBR shelf. They're, like with all these books, if you heard anything about them and if you think I'll enjoy them, let me know. So I have My Last Duchess by Eloise James. Whether these are in a series or not, I have no clue. So you would have to tell me. I have First Comes Scandal by Julia Quinn. I have Her Night with the Duke by Diana Quincy. I have Daring and the Duke by Sarah MacLean. Oh, this is not a historical romance. This is just The Two-Date Rule by Tana Fensky. So that's just a little stack right there. I don't want to get rid of them because I do want to read them. I just don't know which one to read next. One Day by David Nichols. My friend Amy gave this to me like 2 years ago. I've yet to read it because it's heartbreaking, apparently. I don't do good with serious books. I don't know why. I got enough with that in my life. So like, if it's like a super sad book, I don't know if I'm going to get to it. Amongst the Beast and Briars by Ashley Poston. This is a YA fantasy that I'm like, I don't know. It could be on its way out, could not. I don't know. Likewise, I think this might be an adult fantasy. I'm not 100% sure. Hush by Dylan Farrow. I haven't heard too much about it. One I will read. I don't know why I'm not prioritizing it. I can talk. Girl Unframed by Deb Coletti. I need to read it. I don't think I'm going to read it, so it might be time to say goodbye to it. The Lost Cause of Bleak Creek by Rhett and Link. They have Good Mythical Morning. I watch them literally every day, hence why I'm still holding on to this book. I don't think I'm going to read it, so I'm probably going to say goodbye to it. I still love you, Rhett and Link. The Sullivan Sisters by Catherine Ormsby. This is a YA fantasy, maybe? I don't know. The Obsession by Jessie Q. Santuano. This is a YA like kind of thriller. There are some that I'm saving for Halloween. Like this one, also My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I meant to read this Halloween, but didn't. Emma and the Night by Wendy Walker, another one. Actually, I DNF'd her latest ones because it got too scary for me, so I don't know if I can handle this one. And another one I meant to read last Halloween but didn't, so I'm planning to read this upcoming Halloween, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. I started and I didn't finish. Sometimes that happens. I'll just set aside a book and be like, I'll revisit it later. When that date will be, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know about this one though. The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I really enjoy Marie Lu's books. This is about, I need to read this year. I really do. I need to read all of these. Let's be real here. In Deep Waters by F.N. Lukens. The Castle School for Troubled Girls by Alicia Schammel. And Glimpse by G.F. Miller. These are all kind of YA fantasy books that I want to get to. Ooh, Ties That Tether by Jane Agaro. So I meant to read this last year and was fully planning to. And then I saw a review saying like it has a lot to do with miscarriages and things like that. And that's a subject that's really near and dear to my heart. Like, it's hard for me to read books about that. So I do tend to avoid them. That's just a personal thing. And that's why I didn't read this one, because I didn't want to be really sad about it. And I will read this when I'm in the right mind space with that one day, but it's headspace, I guess you could say. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm definitely planning to read this one. Oh, I forgot this one over there. Lore by Alexander Bracken. This just came out. I do really want to read it, but I'm not sure. I need to wait till I hear more opinions from people, I guess you could say. Oh, I have more Book of the Month books because I get a lot of them. The Girl in the Mirror by Rose Carlyle. Adult mystery thriller. Likewise with A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. A sci-fi that I just, like, I keep looking at. I'm like, I think I'll like this, but I never read it. The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I want to check it out so desperately. Last two I have. Another mystery is The Survivors by Jane Harper and The Savior Sisters by Jenna Mauricio. This is self-published and the author gave this to me. I need to read it and make a priority. So yeah, that's all the books. How many is that? I don't even know. That doesn't even include my freaking ebook TBR. I'm not even gonna go there. So it's big. I'm ashamed of myself. So I wanted to show you that in hopes that this year I really tried to read more of them. Actually, I've even changed my TBR structure for each month. I've adapted this like TBR challenge where it has a whole bunch of challenges I'll pull from a jar and I'll pick a book that has to be on my TBR shelf. So I'm doing that, which I really hope will, you know, make me read more of my physical books, because last year was a great year for me for discovering e-reading, but it made me kind of really fall behind on reading books on my shelf. So again, as I've pleaded a lot in this video already, if you've heard any of these books, please let me know if you like them, didn't like them, which one should I read, which one should I just say goodbye to. Seriously, I need your help. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here's the 2021 and hoping that I really focus a lot on my TBR shelf. Fingers crossed. Bye.